Hi, this is Brian Buell, and this is the fourth entry in my vlog series. Today I'm going to talk about perseverance. Now, before I get into it, I wanted to say this might go a little bit more than 5 minutes. I usually try to keep these at 5 minutes, but today might go a little long just because it's been so long since the last one. So, before I can go on to the main topic, I need to do a follow-up to the last video, which was all about being a positive influence in your community, and I had the acronym PROS, P-R-O-S, which was be positive, be realistic, show the opportunities for improvement, and then after that make suggestions. It was in that order. And there is a difference between the last two, opportunities and suggestions, which I can talk about if anybody wants to, but that's the idea. So that's going to be pertinent in the later discussion. Just want to keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and talk about perseverance. What it means to try to persevere as a writer. And before I can go into that, I should probably state where I am and the things that I am trying to persevere. So where I'm at. First, the positives. Since the last video, I finished the second draft of Spin City, and I sent it to an acquiring editor, which is pretty exciting. I also finished the first draft of Synthetic Dreams, a novel I've talked about on my blog that I'm very excited about. I think it's actually the best thing I've ever written. And furthermore, I received a contract for a novelette with Heads and Tails Publishing. The working title of this story is Dead Weight, Air Superiority. About 6,000 words into it. I should probably have it finished in the next week or two, at least the first draft. Furthermore, I've been accepted to go to Portugal with Sierra Nevada University. Very exciting educational opportunity. I'm not sure entirely what's in store for me there, but it's good. It should be a good time. After that, I'm going to New Zealand for Worldcon, and after that, I'm going on my third writing excuses cruise. So a whole bunch of positives in my life, a bunch of things to look forward to. Very, very exciting. But then there's the negatives, the things that I actually have to persevere. The first thing is I actually haven't heard from that acquiring editor that I sent Spin City to. It's been a while. He said he was going to be really slow, and so I'm giving it lots and lots of time. I think anybody else I probably would have given between 3 to 6 months. With this one, I'm giving 6 to 9 months, maybe even a year. The second negative I've had to deal with is I had a bad experience recently pitching a story at LTUE. I don't want to go into the details about who it was I was pitching to, but they made a lot of assumptions about the story that didn't seem to be listening to the words I was saying, and it was very painful. It was a painful experience for me. I don't know if it was necessarily painful for him, and I certainly tried to be as professional about it as I could. I tried to stay as positive about it as I could, but I left feeling very bad about it, which fed into, all of my internal doubts about my ability, about if I'm ever going to sell one of my novels. That's kind of an ongoing thing for a lot of us, which is just the continuous self-doubt, the insecurity. So that's the third thing. The fourth thing in my list of negatives is I recently left my last critique group. I've been very excited about it, and this is where I mentioned in the previous video, if you are unable to remain positive, realistic, show the opportunities, and then make suggestions, if you're unable to be a positive member of a community, then it's time to leave that group, which, as it turned out, that's the case with me. I was not able to be a good member of that group, and I noticed it. I noticed it myself and asked about it, and in the interest of maintaining all the friendships, I've left that group. But it hurts. It again feeds into the internal doubts. All of the insecurities are made bigger and larger by things like that. The next item on my list, it's about the reality of the situation, being real. An agent had posted their numbers last year about getting something like 300,000 submissions, and they were only able to take 4 people, which those numbers sound insane and ridiculous, but also when you just think about it, like how many of us that are trying to write, how many of us are trying to get our stories in front of people, those are scary numbers. And then the last item on my list of negatives, another area of reality, something that is difficult to admit, but it's true. And I want to be real about this, is that I have a number of writer friends that are having success, and I'm a little bit jealous of them. I'm also very happy for them, and I think that the happy outweighs the bad. Like, I really want to see them succeed. It brings me joy to know that they're succeeding and getting the book deals and making successes there. But I'm also, I feel bad because I can't go with them. I'm not traveling with them in that journey. How do I persevere? How do you do it? What are the answers? What are the steps? Do I have an acronym? Well, the answer to the last question is no, I don't have an acronym. In fact, the first item in my bullets here is I don't know how people persevere. I don't have all the answers. I have a few things that I do, a few things that I try, but I don't have all the answers. One of the things that I continue to try to do to persevere is just keep writing. Move on to the next project. Open up Scrivener or Word or Notebook and just start drafting, outlining, editing. Just keep moving forward. That's the number one approach that I have for persevering, is just keep writing. The next item in my list is trying to focus on the positive. Like I said, I had that list at the beginning there with all of the positives. Those are the things I'm trying to keep in mind, and not the list of negatives. The trips I'm going on, the people I'm meeting, the small successes. Those are the things I need to focus on in order to keep my eye on the prize, keep going forward. Beyond those things, just keep on writing, focusing on the positive. The next thing is to ask for help. It's important to reach out to friends, to family, to people that have a sympathetic ear, because sometimes all you need to do is just talk to somebody. But it's important to ask for help when you need help. And the last thing on my list for persevering is know yourself. If I know myself well enough, I know when it is time to take a break versus when it's time to push harder. It's versus when it's time to try something new versus when it's time to just stick with what I know. If you know yourself, then you can figure out which of those paths is the best to go down to keep yourself healthy and to keep yourself productive. In summary, just keep writing, try to focus on the positive, ask for help when you need to, and check in with yourself and know yourself so that you can take care of yourself as you're going forward in this journey. There's been a lot of hullabaloo about how much people should write in order to be able to call themselves a writer, or there's recent posts about a critique group that required their members to write 15,000 words a month or something like that. And so the final thought is, look at all advice you receive critically, including from me, including this. Look at it critically. Make sure that it is appropriate for what you're trying to do. You don't have to write every day to be a writer. You don't have to write 15,000 words a month in order to be a writer. The only thing you have to do to be a writer is write. That's it. So, look at advice critically. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't automatically accept advice, even from friends, because they don't know you as well as you should know yourself, and they may be telling you to try to push harder when what you really need to do is take a break.